under a wind advisory here until tomorrow, which is not atypical for this area. But we finally got a big pile of wood chips after chasing down a truck that I saw on the side of the road last week and giving them our address. They dropped some off today.
How did I skip?
What'd you do?
Look at the first pear tree.
One more to do then.
So today we are getting ready for spring here in Tennessee. We are in zone 7B for if anyone else is kind of in this area. Our blueberries, blackberries, and raspberry plants are already starting to bloom. So unfortunately I forgot and did not get it on film, but I figured I would go through and talk about each type of plant. So what I did with our raspberries, as you can see, some of them most of the stems are already blooming. So what I simply did was I went through each stem, each plant, and I cut slightly above where it stopped blooming at. And this plant, for example, is our prized raspberry plant. I'd say that gives us who knows how many pints or how many pounds of raspberries a year. And we have, at least as of last year, we had 25 raspberry plants, but I don't know how many are going to actually come back and be successful this year, so we have to wait and see on that. And then we have 5 blackberry vines. We started with 4, and last year I was able to transplant a runner to make a 5th blackberry vine that is right here, as you can see. And this one runner already has 3 or 4 different stems coming off of it. I actually found this runner about 10 feet beyond the fence line over here, so that was pretty cool to see. And here are the last 3 or 4 blackberry vines. As you can see, these are obviously more mature. I think this is the 4th growing season that some of these have been around. So you can see some of the vines are almost 20 feet long, and I did actually cut them all back a little bit today just to encourage some more growth potentially, but some of the vines are still 20 feet long. And I followed the same strategy with the raspberry plants. I just found on each vine the pretty much the farthest away bloom or bud that started coming in that I could see, and I just cut a little beyond that. And then last is our blueberries. So blueberry plants are the bane of our existence because we just haven't really gotten any success from them, and they have not really grown too much, and this is going to be the 4th season for these as well. We think mainly it's just due to the insanely rocky and very compacted clay soil that we have on our property. We were told that essentially our property was a pretty much like a spray hay field, more or less, for maybe 60 or 70 years, where it was just chopped down and sprayed with fertilizer 2 or 3 times a season. So that explains the complete lack of topsoil. And then so far with blueberry plants, like I said, haven't been too happy with them so far, but we have 8 of those. 4 of them we got last year, and 4 of them we got in 2021.
This one was at least starting to, we got that whole new shoot last year.
I wasn't sure how far to cut that one back.
Yeah.
Let's get up close. So as you can see, some of these entire branches almost look like they're not going to come back or do anything, so I'm just going to, but this one branch over here is coming through, so I just follow the same thing. I just kind of cut right above that last bloom.
No, is that a 45-degree angle?
Branch is dead. Like this branch, you can see there's one bloom right here all the way down here, and the rest of this branch, and one way you can tell is by cutting it, and it really looks all brown to me, so I think that part of the branch is done. But you can see that this part of the branch is lighter, and that explains where that bud is. And you can see where I cut one up here. I don't know if you can see it on the camera, but you can see the end of the branch that I cut is more green and white on the inside. So that's basically the idea.
And what time of the year do you want to do this?
Well, ideally you want to do it before they start blooming, but you also want to always check your weather forecast, because ideally you don't want any sort of frost or even rain for, I would say, a week, especially the frost, just so all the cuts can heal over, so the trees don't die of disease or whatever else. But I mean, I cut this back mid-year last year, after I missed a whole bunch of basically dead branches and nothing really happened. So
lot bigger than it was when we got it.
I mean, here's where it was last year. You can see
Yeah.
all this branched up. Aggressive with this one.
Yeah.
Since it's newer. I was not that aggressive with it last year and it did not grow nearly as much. I don't like what that looks like.
Uh-oh.
Huh?
Yeah, let me get a shot of it.
It's going like all the way down.
Through our crops, like our veggies and fruits that we have to plant yet, and just kind of trying to organize a schedule of what's going to get planted indoors, when to start transplanting what outside, or when to direct sow outside. All of this is based off of the Farmer's Almanac recommendations, which you can just go onto the Farmer's Almanac website, type in your zip code, and then it tells you all of this stuff. So I am just going to be doing that and putting it into a nicely organized notebook. That's it.
for today is I have a couple more loads to do to get out of the chicken area. I've gotten 3 loads out so far, 3 yesterday and 3 today. So I've already gotten over a cubic yard of material out of the chicken run. I generally clean out the chicken run once a year around this time, and then basically either put it on our grass or fill some with our raised beds or whatever, put it around our fruit trees, whatever we need it for. So for today, I'm going to do a couple more loads. I'm going to fill these cinder blocks halfway up. I'm going to go around and put some around all of our berry trees that you saw, and depending on how my back is feeling, I'll do a couple more loads, and I'll basically put a thick ring of it around each of our fruit trees.
So today I'm going to plant some of our flowers. There's a few that I want to get started on early just so that they can bloom earlier, like the zinnias and the asters. I've started a few snapdragons, but not many, and poppies as well. We don't really have the infrastructure. Our house is really small. We don't have a garage, so we're limited as to space. So I wanted to try a couple of these before I showed you, and they seem to be working well. But what we're going to do is take some milk jugs and basically make tiny greenhouses, and they can stay outside pretty much until they're ready to be transplanted. If it gets super duper cold, I'd bring them in, but mostly they just stay out. So I'll show you what we do. Take a knife, cleaned out milk jug or clear plastic container. Sorry. Always windy here. Always windy. But anyway, we're just going to slice it right around here, and then put some holes for ventilation about an inch or so up. And then we will put our dirt and our water in and seal her up. So let's get started. I decided to leave this one somewhat attached, just because I did that with one of the other 2 that I did, and I just found it was easier to put back together. So leaving it one attached is fine. So I did that just below the handle. Now we'll put these aren't drainage holes, they're just ventilation holes, because you won't be watering. You'll moisten the soil, but you won't be watering in this unless it gets dry, in which case something didn't get worked out right, because it should keep all the moisture inside the container. One down, 1 to go. I'm only doing 2 today because I only have 2 milk jugs today. Alright, so now we got 2. So I just filled up with soil. Jugs, just enough to get the soil to hold itself together and be nice and saturated. You don't want to see a pool of water in your soil. Very typical for us. Alright, take two. Is electrical tape was not working, as I suspected. So they've joined our other two. The electrical tape was not working, so I went for packing tape. As you can see, duct tape works pretty well, but we've got our zinnias and our asters, and then we can check on our snapdragons. Let's see, we've got some in there growing. Hang on a second, bud. And our poppies, also got some growing in there. Unfortunately, these two were a victim of our 2-year-old. So I guess just make sure that if you have little kids, they know not to touch them, or you're watching them diligently, because they will pick them up and shake them.